And I'm just gonna say a quick hello to everyone. Thank you for being here. We're so excited to have you. This is a topic that has come up, gosh, weekly, if not monthly, since I joined the staff 2.5 years ago. So we're thrilled to share this content with you and to hear from Synchronicity. And so I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Hey, thanks. It's so great to see so many faces here on Zoom. I'm not sick of Zoom, but it's like brings our community together, especially on this topic. So I'm Elizabeth Ouellette. I'm on the board of directors of the CMTA, and more so I'm a patient advocate and the mom of a young adult with CMT. I'm no longer able to say child. I'm a young adult with CMT. And with us today is Dr. Stephen Kraus. He is the president and the COO of Synchronicity, which is a full-spectrum hemp oil company. And when I was looking, and also we have Salem McCullough. Where are you, Salem? He's the director of e-commerce. I don't see him on my front screen, but
Salem, if you talk, you'll show up on the front screen.
Anyway, well, Salem's trying to figure that out. We'll be hearing from Salem. And we also have Dr. Greg Stilwell, and he is on our advisory board. He's a podiatrist. He's an exercise enthusiast, and he actually introduced us to this company, and we're so happy he did. Dr. Kraus, can you just tell me a little bit Dr. Kraus, how did you get involved with this? I hear you're in Iowa, now the company's in Colorado, you go back and forth. What are you doing?
Well, I was a practicing chiropractic physician for 30 years.
Wow.
And I was able to start a medical device company a number of years back. And that got me involved with FDA audits, with good manufacturing processes. I've owned a number of companies for operations, and they asked me to come out with my science background. I've done some published research in the past, and with bringing the good manufacturing process and certifications that come with a nutritional pharmaceutical type company, I brought that expertise out here and assembled a team so that we could deliver our product in a very safe manner. And because it was all natural, that fits my MO. I'm a holistic practitioner, and I love organic and I love holistic healthcare.
Wow, that's great. That answers a lot of questions for me, but I still don't understand why you're still living in Iowa.
Well, I have 7 children, and I have 3 kids in college, 3 in high school, and 1 married. So they're all back in Iowa, so I wasn't gonna be able to move everybody out.
Okay, that explains that question too. Well, with that, why don't we, thank you, Laurel. I just want to thank Laurel also, who put everything together. So let's get to your slides. Dr. Kraus has some slides that he's going to show us to explain. He said he's going to rip through them because there's a lot of them, but it's very informational. And Dr. Kraus, can we get these slides later on after the presentation?
Sure.
Okay, great. And then we'll be able to ask some questions. So go ahead, Dr. Kraus. Welcome.
Well, thank you. And I really appreciate CMTA for allowing us to present educational information about how the body's endocannabinoid system works and how a natural product like Synchronicity using full-spectrum hemp oil can hopefully make a difference in those watching and for the loved ones of those watching here. As we know, CMT with genetic and not really any kind of cure, what we're hoping to do is make the lives better of those individuals having the various symptoms. So as you've kind of already alluded to, I'm the president and chief operations officer here at Functional Remedies. And so I work with everything from our organic farm to our certified GMP production facility to our ISO 9001 certified company. And we're real proud to have our operations in Colorado, and this is the view right out of the window, just 3 feet from me, that I'm lucky to look out of each week. And so that picture you see that was taken just a couple of weeks ago right outside my window. So as mentioned, we're a vertically integrated company where we take care of our own soil, our organic farm, through our production process all the way to the bottle. So we control and own every step of the process so that we can guarantee what's in this product and the safety of it. So let's talk generically here first. I think there might be a number of individuals who have heard about hemp oil and CBD, but they're not really sure what is it. So let's just talk a little bit about what are the reasons Americans are currently taking these types of products. You've got well over 30 million Americans taking this now on a daily basis. And the number one reason is pain relief. And then the next 4 reasons are pretty close, 2nd through 5th. You've got relaxation, stress relief, reduced anxiety, and better sleep. Those are the reasons that individuals have stated as to why they take hemp oil or CBD. But I think it's important that we understand the differences. And there's a lot of buzzwords out there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of, I guess I'll call them garage companies who are trying to make a fast buck, and you need to be careful making sure that you're getting what you think you're getting. So let's address the elephant in the room. Can you get high off of hemp or CBD? And the answer is clearly no. And so let's describe the difference between hemp and marijuana. They both come from the same plant, cannabis sativa, but the difference from a legal perspective is simply this. If the plant has more than 0.3% THC, it's considered marijuana. If it's less than 0.3%, it's hemp. So THC is one cannabinoid in a hemp plant, in a marijuana plant, and that's what gives you the hallucinogenic or the psychoactive high feeling that you hear about. Cannabinoids such as CBD, CBG, all the other 120 cannabinoids that are in that plant do not get you high. So with hemp, you cannot get high or have altered mental status from an uncontrollable factor by taking hemp or CBD. You cannot. So we've worked very hard over the last 20 years of naturally crossbreeding this plant to make sure that our plant has an extremely low amount of THC. So it's important to have a little bit of THC in there, and our plant averages about 0.1%. And you really need, anywhere from 7.0% to start feeling something from a high factor. So you're not going to feel that. You'd have to drink, a few dozen bottles of this to get anything. But then I don't think your stomach would feel so well. So let's talk about the difference in plant genetics for just a moment. That's really the difference. All these cannabinoids and phytonutrients, including bioflavonoids, which help protect your body against free radicals, the phenols, all these wonderful benefits of skin protecting nutrients, anti-inflammatory properties, but having a full array of all these phytocannabinoids and a tiny, tiny amount of THC is where the benefit comes from. And our plant right now is the only fully DNA sequenced plant in the cannabis genome. It's even published on the NIH website. If you go to the NCBI website, subdivision of NIH, you'll find that our plant, which we call CBDRX18, we've fully sequenced the DNA, so we know exactly what's in our plant. And this is our plant on our farm right here in Colorado. And there's a difference between full-spectrum hemp oil and CBD all by itself. So let's explain that. CBD is one molecule. There are over 120 identified different cannabinoids, 120 different molecules of cannabinoids. Plus there's another 300 molecules of terpenes, phytonutrients. So you've got around 400 different molecules in this plant. And what's interesting about the genetics is the human body, the DNA in our human body matches nearly 40% of the DNA in the hemp plant. It's the most closely related plant to the human body than any other plant. Even certain vegetative plants, they have certain DNA similar to the human body as well, but the hemp plant has more DNA similarities to the human body than any other plant, and I find that very interesting. Now, your body has a system called the ECS, the endocannabinoid system, and it's made up of a bunch of receptors that are located on your brain, on your nervous system, your spinal cord, on your skin, on your digestive tract, your endocrine glands, near your joints, your nervous system, even your endocrine system where it balances all of the hormones in your body. So the ECS system isn't something that any of us were taught in high school. And the reason for that is it wasn't until the late 80s, early 90s that it made its way into all the medical textbooks. And the ECS system, the receptors is basically the master system of the body to control and regulate the other systems of the body so that they produce the correct enzymes for inflammation, so that they produce the correct hormonal release or the correct amount of serotonin from your brain so that your body's biochemistry is balanced. That's what the ECS is doing, is it's allowing your body to be in a homeostatic state. And the way it does it is with a variety of different receptors. Now these receptors, the majority of these receptors are triggered by CBD, that one molecule. But many of the receptors aren't triggered by CBD at all. They're triggered by the other cannabinoids, CBA, CBD, and even terpenes. Terpenes are found in oranges, grapefruits. Terpenes are very rich in the hemp plant as well. And those botanical compounds also trigger and activate these receptors so that they then send messages to the immune system, to the GI system. And so the difference between full-spectrum hemp oil and CBD is this. Full spectrum means we're taking all of these botanical compounds from the whole plant.
I thought it was.
Whereas CBD is simply one molecule. And in order to get CBD out, what certain companies have to do, they have to use an extraction process. And that extraction process involves chemicals like ethanol or ether. It's a harsh extraction process. And the problem when you do that is you have to remove that molecule, they cleanse it, and then they put it back into the liquid. And so it's really not an all-natural process. It's a man-made process, whereas Lipid Infusion, which is what our Synchronicity product is made from, it's a gentle hand pressing. And so literally, here's what we do. Imagine this, folks. Imagine a container, a stainless steel, large pot with organic coconut oil, which is a lipid, and then we put hemp, raw hemp material right from the plant. And we've already tested that plant to make sure there's no heavy metals, no pesticides, no chemicals, all organic on our organic farm. And that hemp product goes into this, and under a specialized heat, under a specialized pressure, we cook and infuse all of those phytonutrients in the hemp plant, and they attach to that organic coconut or lipid molecule. And literally with our hands, we hand press with an apple press, we squeeze out the oil out of that plant. We don't use any harsh chemicals like the CO2 extraction methods. And the difference is this: would you like to have the pure cells that you see on the bottom here? Or would you like to have the adulterated molecules that are shown above from CO2 extraction put into your body? I don't know about you, but I'd rather have these nice, holistic, all natural molecules go into my body versus an adulterated biochemical compound that you see above as a result of ethanol extraction. And then you want to make sure that before you put that product in your body, that it's pure, that it's got the correct potency that is on the bottle, that you know you're getting the amount of hemp nutrients that it says it has in the bottle. And so it's important that it's tested for antimicrobial properties. It's important that we test for heavy metals and make sure that there's no residual solvents and make sure there's no toxins. And we want to make sure that there is no amount of THC above 0.3%. And we've demonstrated this. So we are federally certified by NSF for GMP, and not a lot of companies have that designation. And we're the only company that has an ISO 9001 certification for the entire company, from the farm to the corporate office to our production facility and GMP. We're the only company in the United States out of over 3,000 that have that dual certification as a hemp-only company. So it's important that you know you're getting pure, potent, and safe products put into your body. And one way we control that, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, is that we're vertically integrated, because we test our soil. We test the plant before we harvest. We test the plant after we hand harvest. We're literally out in the field and we hand plant every single plant by hand. And we harvest every single plant by hand. And then it's cared for in the facility. And because we use this lipid infusion process, it allows for a better bioavailability into your body, a better absorption, because lipids are more easily absorbed in the body. And it's important that we are able to get all of those botanical compounds that the hemp plant offers into your body because of what we call the true entourage effect. It's the whole entourage of all these wonderful botanical compounds to trigger all the receptors so that your body is fully balanced. And the best way I can explain it is, when you've got an orange, would you rather have fresh squeezed orange juice, or would you rather have a concentrate? And I think most of us would choose fresh squeezed orange juice, right? And that way you get all of the cannabinoids. And that's what your body needs, is all those cannabinoids to balance all the systems of the body. So the other question I'm often asked is, well, what's the right amount that I should take? I've been diagnosed with CMT, so I've got neuropathic pain. I've got some numbness in my extremities. I've got achy muscles. I've got GI problems, a variety of issues, right? So here's what we say. In order for you to feel the full effect, you kind of have to ask your body. You've got to start low and then go a little slow, and your body's going to tell you. So I'm going to share this with you. You heard at the top of the presentation, I have 7 kids, 3 in college, 3 in high school. Every one of my 7 children have taken this product, whether it be a topical on their skin, whether it would be an ingestible, whether it would be a facial cream, but all 7 of my kids take this product on a daily basis. My college kids take it to sleep better, and as an anti-anxiety is why they take it. So I recommend what you do is start with 25 milligrams a day. And now this depends on your metabolism. It depends on what other kind of medications might you be taking. So if you're taking I guess I'm going to call it a Molotov cocktail of all kinds of medications, you do need to talk to your physician about this. But the crazy thing is, folks, most healthcare practitioners out there, they don't fully understand CBD and hemp either, because when they were in college, they didn't study it. So most of the research has been done over the last several years. And on the NIH website, you'll find thousands of studies ranging from female issues with endometriosis to simple problems like anti-inflammatory, where there's a lot of research. But my recommendation to you is this. If 25 milligrams a day doesn't change anything, go to 50 milligrams within 3 days after that, if you didn't notice anything. You can go up to 150 milligrams without impacting any kind of liver or other problems, in my opinion. And anything above that, you should talk to your family healthcare provider. So one of the studies was done back in 2018 over in Europe. And what they did, they assembled a panel of experts to review over 10,000 different scientific abstracts that dealt with CBD, dealt with hemp oil in general, and how does it affect the endocannabinoid system of our body. So their conclusion was that there is substantial evidence that hemp oil does work. Specifically, the number one thing that it helped was acting as an anti-inflammatory. And as you know, most pain is from inflammation. And we all look at all these various healthcare conditions out there, and they all end with itis, I-T-I-S, gastritis, conjunctivitis. Everything ending in itis simply means there's inflammation of that structure. And we all know now that cardiovascular problems is really inflammation of our arterial walls. And one of the world's leading cardiologists, Dr. Joel Kahn, over in the Detroit area, he's published a number of New York bestseller textbooks, and he recommends this, and he only treats CEOs and high-end individuals for heart problems, and he recommends, our product for anti-inflammatory problems for the cardiovascular system. There's a lot of research out there that you'll find on the NIH website, so I encourage you to go there yourself. And if you just Google hemp studies on NIH, thousands are going to show up, right from the immune system to the GI tract to the nervous system to the endocrine system. You'll spend months reading these studies. So I'm going to wrap it up here real quick with how do we feel the full effect? Well, it's different for everybody. And what form factor is best for you? Well, there are capsules, lotions, there are tinctures, which is a dropper that you might take. And so the topicals that you see here, in all these topicals, we've added additional ingredients besides the hemp oil. So it's all organic ingredients in the sports balm for pain. So for those of you who don't want to take an oral, ingestible, such as a capsule or a tincture, I might recommend you try the sports balm. And that's a roll-on on your skin over achy muscles or joints that you would apply. And that's a good dose. That's 2,500 milligrams in the total bottle. But we've also included a number of other organic ingredients, from arnica to menthol and some other soothing items as well. And our body oil has helped many, many people who have had different skin inflammatory processes. My 20-year-old son who had severe acne in high school. He's now in college. It got rid of 90% of his symptoms. He looks the best he's ever been. The body butter on the far right, cracked heels on your toes, fungal areas, works wonders. My other son, who's in high school and is a basketball and football athlete, has worked wonders for him on athlete's foot and things of that nature. So that's what the sports balm looks like. And this is what the body butter looks like that we just discussed. And then the tincture is all natural, or you could have a flavored tincture such as berry lemonade. And for those of you who don't like the all natural hempy taste, my recommendation is try the berry lemonade, and that'll mask any, if you don't like kind of a hemp flavor, as you put that in your mouth, swish it around and swallow it. And the dropper itself, one dropper contains 25 milligrams. If you buy the 1,000 milligram bottle, if it's a 500 milligram, then it's 12.5 milligrams. So you might take 2 of these before bedtime if you're taking it for sleep. I personally take 50 milligrams every night before I go to bed. So I take 2 capsules every night before I go to bed, and then I use the youth serum on my face, on my wrinkles. It's got a bunch of organic properties in there along with the hemp oil, and it's cleared up a number of my, I'll call them age spots here on the side. It's done wonders. And because CMT was so gracious and allowing us to speak tonight, and now we'll open up to questions in a moment, but you might want to write this down. It's CMTA 30. So it's pretty easy to remember. You all know who CMTA is. And then the number 30, if you use that on the website, you'll get 30% off any order that you have. And that's at www.synchronicityhempoil.com. So at this point, I think we can open it up to Q&A. And in keeping in the theme with our Colorado base, this is our Red Rocks outdoor amphitheater that I took this photo at a blues concert 2 summers ago now. And it's nighttime now, but I don't see a full moon out there like I did that night. So we can go ahead and start with Q&A.
So thank you so much. That you did get through those slides pretty quickly, and it was very informative. Before we go to Q&A, I'd just like to bring Dr. Stilwell, who's on our CMTA Advisory Board. Many of you know him already. And Dr. Stilwell is the one that brought this company to us, and he himself has experienced the full effect of some of these products. And Greg, I wanted you to speak a little bit about that before we go to Q&A.
Well, hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me here. I'm so grateful that this seems like a pretty objective presentation, Stephen. So thanks, Dr. Kraus, for a lot of good stuff. You know, for me, I've been taking this Synchronicity for about 2 years, and for 3 main reasons, Elizabeth. You know, one was that I started off with pain, with kind of that neurological pain in my legs. I don't know, you know, I guess everybody's pain is a little bit different, but what I found was I tried other CBD oils and capsules and these things without any kind of relief. And this one, I would say 80 to 90% gone when I take it. Now I have to take it every day. The second thing is kind of this feeling of uncoordination, you know, that I'm sure a lot of people with CMT can relate to, you know, that I feel clumsy when I walk sometimes, or maybe my hands don't work the way they should. And when I take the hemp oil, you know, I haven't actually done like scientific studies to see how much it improves, but I can sense that my hands work better and that my legs are less clumsy. And I'm not sure why that is exactly, but last reason is that there is kind of this whole mood and stress relief kind of thing. You know, Dr. Kraus talked about not getting high, but there is definitely something that it does to the brain, and so that when you take it, that your mood kind of is elevated. That things are happier for me, and so thanks so much.
Good. Yeah, he's good. Do you take the pills, Dr. Stilwell?
Yeah, so I take a 50 milligram capsule pretty much
Capsules.
every day. Sometimes, if I do a lot of exercise or if I have done something bad for my body, like traveling, then I'll take extra. But
Well, thank you so much for that testimonial. Thank you. Thank you for bringing us, introducing us to Synchronicity. This is great. Laurel?
well, thanks. I look forward to the Q&A. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Sure.
Yes, we've had lots of questions start rolling in, and I have received a few before tonight as well, so we'll just sprinkle those in. So I'm going to dive right in, and one of the first questions, Dr. Kraus, is how is this good for people with CMT? Are there special benefits for us?
I can't say that there's special benefits. Again, when we talk about anxiety, or we talk about what Dr. Stilwell just mentioned, mood, there is a lot of research on improvement that patients have mentioned. Again, it's finding the right dose for that. But the big thing to me that I would think for CMT patients is the anti-inflammatory properties. That's all natural. We all know that when we watch TV and a medication commercial comes on, 1/3 of the commercial is the narrator listing off 50 different side effects that occurs. And we all know if we're going to take Tylenol, we're going to cause liver problems. We all know if we take Advil and NSAIDs, we're going to cause GI problems and kidney problems. There's just no way around it. So long-term utilization of those types of anti-inflammatory products has side effects. And the all-natural organic properties of hemp oil, and specifically full-spectrum hemp oil, can give an individual those anti-inflammatory benefits, and anti-inflammatory benefits affects the whole body. I'm going to just share a quick little story, and this is just one anecdotal, and it's my blood test. So ever since I was 23 years old, when I started taking my blood work, I have had high triglycerides, high cholesterol my entire life. And when I take life insurance physicals on myself, those results came back. I had a heart attack about 5-6 years ago. They wanted to put me on statins. I did it for 1 year. I just had another life insurance physical done, and they did the blood work. I couldn't believe it. I went to the hospital, did a follow-up. It's the first time in my life I'm not on any medication. I take no statins, and I've been taking this product for 1.5 years every day, and my cholesterol and triglycerides are normal. I can't say to you it's from this. I can't make that statement, but nothing else changed in my life because I still eat steak and I still drink a Mountain Dew every now and then. So my diet is not perfect, and I'm the worst for exercise. So the only lifestyle factor that changed for me is introducing hemp oil, and I believe it's because of the anti-inflammatory effect on my blood vessels.
Okay, very good.
Can I ask a question? You talked a lot about phytonutrients. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so phytonutrients, nutrients in the plant, there's a whole host of bioflavonoids, the terpenes, the phenols. It's a way, phytonutrients is a way to describe all these other botanical compounds that are found in the plant. And so they've identified a little over 400 botanical compounds in the hemp plant, and so many good natural ones for the body. Now, granted, a lot of them are very, very small amounts, with CBD being the largest one of them. But again, to get this full entourage effect, the reason why so many experts are now saying full spectrum hemp oil, meaning whole plant, you're getting all the nutrients of the plant. You're not just extracting just the one phytonutrient, CBD.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to get back up to the top of the questions. Someone had asked if your products are available in Canada. Salem's helping to answer the chat questions, and unfortunately your products are not available in Canada. Just wanted to share that with the group because we have a few friends from over the border up in Canada with us. So we will get to people raising their hands, but also if you could ask your question in the chat feature, that is a great place to do that as well.
Is it illegal to send to Canada? Why isn't it? I mean, you can't purchase it and have it cross the border?
It's a regulatory factor, yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
That's supposed to be changing soon. We'll see.
Okay.
That would be great. And this question has come up a couple times, Dr. Kraus. You know, someone is saying this all sounds wonderful and organic, but where are the clinical trials to support it? Specifically, clinical trials in general, you might speak to about CBD and hemp oil, but also as it relates to CMT. You
bet. So one thing that we're investing in here at Synchronicity, we just got approval from the IRB, the International Review Board, to do a human trial, a clinical study, and we'll be initiating that in the next 2 months. And the purpose of that study, it's a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial, and we'll be testing different dosages and its impact on sleep, pain, anxiety, and general lifestyle. So a person diagnosed with CMT could be in that study. It wasn't designed for just CMT folks. And there is another trial that is supposed to be released in about 6 to 8 weeks. And that study had 700 individuals testing liver enzymes and safety at different doses for that. If you've read about potential liver toxicity, the only reason that came up through the FDA is because when GW Pharmaceutical, it's a pharmacy company that created an anti-seizure medication. So it's listed as a drug, and it's primarily CBD isolate only. It's not the full phytocannabinoids. It's heavy doses. The smallest dose that I've heard of with that drug is 375 milligrams a day, but the studies used thousands of milligrams, over 2,000 milligrams in the study a day. So think about that. We're talking about using 50 milligrams. They used 2,000 milligrams each day, and it showed some possible, in some patients, some possible liver toxicity at those high doses for those people with severe certain type of seizures. And so my reason for bringing that up, while this discussion about liver, it's because of that seizure medication that triggered that discussion. And that's why we're also doing safety clinical trials on the liver to demonstrate, to the person's question, clinical safety.
Thank you, Dr. Kraus. It's been asked a couple times in the chat, do your products interfere with any prescription medications that people might be on, whether it's gabapentin, something for neuropathic pain, or any other medications? Is there any contraindication?
Yep. A number of studies have been published on NIH website, and of those, it was interesting. Some medications, there can be complicating factors, but then at the same time, they showed certain medications worked better when the person took hemp oil. I'll give you one example. A certain antibiotic worked better because they have also shown that hemp oil has some antimicrobial properties in it, specifically for things like staphylococcus. So, but some microbes that are gram-positive, that test gram-positive, it's not that effective with. It did not enhance it, but gram-negative, it did. So my point here is, I mean, we could spend an hour going through, 1,000 medications. Does it not? And the problem is a lot of research has not been conducted on all these different medications. And again, that's why I said earlier, if you're taking a menu list of medications, you should talk to your family physician about it. So are you already taking certain antidepressants and things of that nature? So it's not well understood yet which medication does it work with or not.
Okay. And you mentioned that hemp oil can help with the numbness that's associated with CMT. With CMT cause numbness as a result of sensory nerve impairment, what is the mechanism by which hemp oil might help to improve the numbness?
Yeah. So neurotransmitters are impacted by your endocannabinoid system in your body. So regulation, certain release of neurotransmitters. Again, we have to remember, what is hemp oil actually doing? Hemp oil isn't going in there and attacking neuronal issues or the myelin sheath. It's not impacting that specifically. What it's doing is it's allowing the nervous system itself to regulate itself better, or to release certain biochemicals at the axonal level. And again, there are a number of studies that have shown that at the axon level, it does actually cause certain enzymatic release that can help. So I'm not going to sit here and say hemp oil resolves neuropathies, but there is a study on NIH. If you type in neuropathy and CBD, or neuropathy and hemp oil, you'll have a half a dozen studies pop up. And there is some evidence of improvement with those cases.
Okay, thank you. I think it would be helpful, I'm seeing a trend with the questions here. Could you just review again, Dr. Kraus, how these products might help the CMT patient? So looking at neuropathic pain, sleep, relaxation, anxiety associated with having a progressive disorder.
You bet. And with the litany of items you just mentioned there, and then of course depression starts to happen because of all these symptoms and individuals suffering from. So again, if you can get restful sleep, they've shown that if people can sleep better and get rest, they have more energy the next day. Their body is healing in that process. So what I'm going to tell you is, if your body's neurological system and your body's anxiety, Dr. Stilwell talked about just mood enhancement, feeling better, feeling happier, anti-anxiety effects. So again, we're not treating a disease here, folks, with hemp oil. What we're doing is, it is modulating your body's regulatory system when it comes to certain hormones, certain enzymes, certain neurotransmitters to function better, which therefore the end result is less anxiety, better sleep, less inflammation. And so while there's no cure for CMT, if we minimize the symptomatology that comes along with it, you're feeling better, you're happier. And so I'm going to say this, because you folks have a sequela of a variety, a mishmash, a bucket load of symptoms, I believe, it's not true all the time, but I believe you're going to need higher doses. And that's why earlier I said, consider up to 150 milligrams. I believe you should start small at the 25, work your way up, find the right dose for you, and you will know within 3 days, a week at the most, in my opinion, based on the thousands of testimonials that we've got on the tens of thousands of people who take our product. I encourage you to try it. You're not going to get hurt. as long as you're not taking a litany of medications that you do need to be careful with.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And this has come up several times. Will it cause you to test positive on a drug test?
Great question. So the answer is it depends. It depends on the drug test. And here's what I mean by that. If we rewind the clock 10 years ago, employers would do a marijuana test, right? When you talk about a drug test, what is the drug? The drug that they're testing for is marijuana. Hemp oil clearly is not marijuana, okay? Because the federal legal allowed limit in every state is less than 0.3% of THC. You are allowed to have that. The problem is the cost of a drug test that is specific for just the THC is expensive. It's $45 retail to the doctor's office. They're going to charge the employer $100, and it's for THC. So what they did 10 years ago, when it was illegal to have hemp oil back then, they found that by testing for cannabinoids, CBD was much cheaper, $14. So the drug test, what they thought was, well, we know there's cannabinoids in the marijuana plant also, let's just test for cannabinoids. And that means they're taking marijuana if they have a bunch of cannabinoids showing up. So what's happened is about 60% of all employers and labs have shifted away from testing for cannabinoids and are now testing for just the THC, true marijuana. And unfortunately, about 30% of the labs still use the old method. So my answer to your person asking the question is, it depends on the type of test that the employer is doing. My advice to you is to quiz them, question them on what they're doing and what the lab is doing. And I guarantee your employer's gonna say, I don't know. I just hire this lab over here, or I hire this doctor's office to do drug tests. They don't know the details and the specifics of it. So it's important to understand what they're testing for. And then number two, even if they are testing for THC, if your body's metabolism is poor and you are taking high doses of hemp oil, full-spectrum hemp oil that has some THC in it, it's possible, very remote, very unlikely, less than 3% chance, but it's possible the person could still trigger a THC test. False positive, granted, but it still could be triggered.
Okay, thank you. Next question, is there an age minimum and maximum? What is that recommended age range? And I'm specifically asking because one person asked if it's safe for her 91-year-old mother.
Well, my mother is 80 years old and she takes it every day.
Okay.
I know many elderly. Here's what's funny. My mom is extremely religious, and if the word marijuana came up, you were a sinner, in her mind, right? So what I'm telling you, in their little church group, she told me she took a poll, and there's like 12 ladies who played bridge and all this. 8 out of 12 of them are taking CBD, and they're all in their 80s.
That's awesome.
So the whole attitude has shifted. So here's what I'm going to say. I don't know enough details about your 90-year-old grandfather or grandmother, but again, it depends on medications and other things, and give them a low dose. It depends what they're taking it for. Right now, we don't recommend it in children or pregnant women. Why? Not that we know there's a side effect, it just hasn't been tested. There's not enough studies on it, so that's why we say no. But I will tell you, my youngest son is 15, and he was taking it when he was 14 for certain things. Granted, his was a topical, and just so we're all aware, when you take a lotion or a body butter, it goes on the skin. You will not test positive on any drug test taking a topical because it does not penetrate the bloodstream. So when you use a roll-on muscles or near a joint, the topicals will not trigger positive results on a drug test, and topicals certainly will not cause harm to those on lots of medications you can put on the skin. And just so we're all aware, your skin has CB1 and CB2 receptors all over your body. You have endocannabinoid receptors on your body, on your skin, which is your #1 immune protector. Your skin is an immune protector, and it helps. A study just was released on February 4th of 2021, talking about the protective properties of hemp oil on the skin cells, increasing the hydration and immune properties of our skin.
Very informational. Thank you for that. Next question, can you build up a tolerance for it to where then you would need to escalate your dosage?
Great question. I think that happened to me after taking 50 milligrams daily for probably almost 2 years now. There were many nights I bumped it up to 100 milligrams. My brain's going a million miles a minute. So in the past, a lot of times I would sleep for 3 hours, wake up, be restless. Now I sleep a rock solid 5 to 6 hours. I'll still sleep another 2 hours, a little bit off, but I get the best sound sleep I've ever had these last few years. And it seems like as we get older, we all seem to have challenges sleeping, and that leads to other health problems if we don't get good rest. So to answer your question, is it possible you build up a tolerance? It is possible. I don't have enough studies, though, to comment intelligently.
So just pay attention, attention to your body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people are saying that the code is not working. So could you just speak to that? Do you have to register with Synchronicity and then use the code, or?
No, basically you just have to go to, you enter a product and then you put it in your cart and then you put in the code, and then you have to kind of go to the very end after you filled out your billing information, and then you'll see that code is applied.
Okay.
So that's probably where a little bit of the confusion's coming in.
Thank you.
Yep.
So it happens at the end. Okay. Sorry, Dr. Kraus, any side effects from daily use?
So again, if your dose is in that 25, 50 to 100 milligrams a day, the only side effects that we have ever had reported, and I'm not kidding, we have thousands of testimonials and we asked, was a little bit of, some people talked about dry mouth in the morning.
Okay.
They might get a little dryness in the mouth. Other than that, we have not had any reports. And again, we've sold this to tens of thousands of folks.
Okay. I'm really sorry if I asked that twice. I'm trying to juggle 11 different things. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. We'll get to people's questions who's raising their hand. I'm just trying to get through the some of the chat things. Any research on the addiction or dependency associated with pure hemp oil?
No. I think what you're going to find is a lot of people will say to you, oh, I tried hemp oil or I tried CBD. It didn't work for me. And I will say this again. That person probably took a CBD isolate from a CO2 extraction method, meaning they just took CBD only and the dose was probably so low. And if they bought it at a gas station, God knows where that came from. And even if there's CBD in the product. The FDA did a study 2-3 years ago, and they randomly selected, I think it was about 80 different products off the shelf. And it's unfortunate and embarrassing to tell you that about 20 of those companies in their products didn't even have half of the CBD listed or no CBD listed. These are frauds. And that's why I say to you, you have to get a GMP certified company because it's all validated. they follow the processes, they're regulated. It's critical. But
Okay.
back to the point, no, I've seen no studies on dependency or tolerance buildup. So I'm not saying there is or isn't a tolerance buildup. I'm just saying that there's no studies yet
Okay.
that I'm aware of.
And then is there a different approach for children? One mom is asking, her daughter is 13 years old, weighs 100 pounds. Would you start her at 25 milligrams?
So great question. So what I would do, so this is what a tincture looks like. And so it's a dropper. And on the side of the dropper, I'm going to hold it up to, I'm going to squirt it. There's the color here. So do you see the numbers kind of on the dropper?
Kind of, yes.
You might see some numbers there. So it's got 1 milliliter, 0.75. My suggestion is go with the berry lemonade tincture. And instead of doing a full dropper, I would buy the 500 milligram, not the 1,000 milligram for your daughter, 13-year-old. Therefore, one full dropper is just 12.5 milligrams. Okay? And all the information's on the back of the label. And so my suggestion is just do a half a dropper of the 500 milligram berry lemonade tincture with your daughter and see what kind of changes.
And I'm assuming no research yet on children. No studies have been done.
Correct. Correct. Off the record, well, I'm on the record. You're all listening. I know lots of people who give it to kids.
Okay.
Lots. I know of a teething baby that a mother put a one drop on her finger and rubbed it on the goons of the infant. Just sharing that.
Yeah, okay. Any concerns for anyone who has been through chemotherapy for cancer and using CBD? I'm assuming not, since it's pure.
Absolutely no concern. As a matter of fact, if you go to the NIH website, go ahead and type in cancer and CBD, cancer post-treatment and CBD. There are a number of studies showing that those who have undergone radiation or chemo have incredible relief by taking CBD. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of research on that many cancer patients take that. It's not helping the cancer, it's helping the feeling, the icky feeling after treatments.
Okay. And you do not need a medical marijuana card, of course, to purchase these products.
No, you do not, because it's not marijuana.
It's not marijuana. Okay. Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Did you want to ask a question, sir?
I did. Is it possible to get a copy of that slide that showed the various websites for different parts of the body, like the GI tract and so on?
Yep.
That looked like a really useful slide.
You bet. I'll definitely make sure you get that.
Yes. If Dr. Kraus shares his slides with me, I can get that out to everyone who has registered for the Zoom tonight.
What I'll do is I'll convert the slides to a PDF, because right now the graphics on the slide are so thick, it won't be able to be emailed. So I'll convert the slide presentation to a PDF, and then you can give them access to the PDF.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And also, for the people who came in late and asked if we are recording it and will it be available, the answer is yes. Just give us some time to edit it and get it up on our website, but we will be doing that. Okay, so, and just no contraindications for people dealing with diabetes?
No, diabetes, we've got liver involvement. We've got insulin involvement. There's not studies on that, but that's one of the cases that we need to be careful with. If you have diabetes in taking hemp oil, there's not enough research, but that's a kind of health condition that could have potential side effects.
Okay. And so there's no need to register with your state if you're going to be purchasing or using hemp oil or ordering products. They just come in the mail.
So here's the interesting thing. Every state has different laws on selling CBD. So we're based out of Colorado. So we're selling out of Colorado. So when you go on the website, you bought it from Colorado. We mail it in a box like this to your home. And the US Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS all have policies that they will deliver hemp oil to all 50 states, no problem.
Okay. And what product, Dr. Kraus, did you say helped with your son's acne?
He applies two products. He applies the body oil to his back. So he had, I mean, he used to get teased, and it was very emotional for me. The kids would call him Pete's face. I mean, he was just loaded with acne. And again, I'm not making a claim here, folks. I need to be clear that this is me personally. This isn't Synchronicity making a claim that we treat acne. I'm not stating that. What I'm saying to you is my son applied the body oil to the body because his back was loaded with severe acne, with deep pits, bubbled up, red inflammation. And then on the face, he used the facial cream. It's in a jar like this. And after about 3 months, let me back up. After about 2 weeks, we noticed an improvement, but dramatic improvement after about 3 months. And he still applies it. And my wife and I are just so excited for him because he was just, you know, harassed as a kid.
Yeah.
So could you tell me what is the difference between I know the difference, like, you know, the physical difference, but when do you use the tincture and when do you use the capsules?
Yeah. So here's what I would say to you. The tincture and the capsule both have, you know, the same hemp oil in it, just a different form factor slightly on the organic coconut. One's kind of an MCT coconut. The other is more of a liquid. So my point is the capsules, there's nothing liquidy in the capsule. It's hard inside the capsule. You'll look at it and you're gonna say, oh my God, this looks green and maybe even a little black. It's hemp oil, it's hardened hemp oil with lipid coconut. The tincture, as I showed to you, is a golden green. You know, if you see that, right on my computer, and you'll just put that in your mouth. After I went to the dentist, I switched that around because my shot had worn off. I took 3 full droppers and holy cow, pain 100% gone in 5 minutes. So the tincture is fast acting because it's right into your body. Okay? So if you take the tincture before you go to bed, you'll want to take that like right before you go to bed. Whereas the capsules, you need to take an hour before you go to bed.
Okay.
Because it'll take an hour before it starts to have an effect on you.
Thank you.
Now that's if you're doing it for sleep. My daughter, who went to grad school, is in grad school. Her first semester in grad school, her anxiety level was so high. She was away from her boyfriend, miles away from her boyfriend, away from family, all new people, hardcore classes. And I put her on 150 milligrams a day. So morning, right when she got up at 7 a.m., took 25 milligrams of a tincture, kept her relaxed, wouldn't get full anxiety. She took another tincture at 1 o'clock, and then, so it's 25, 25. Then she took 100 before she went to bed. And she did that for a month, and then I backed her down to 75 a day.
Okay.
Laurel, I think Roy has a question.
I was just going to say the exact same thing.
Raising his finger.
Roy, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
He might just have to unmute.
How big is the capsule?
It's the 50, so we have 2 capsules, a 25 milligram capsule and a 50 milligram capsule. Salem, I don't know if you have one readily available, but it's not a horse pill, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
I have trouble with horse pills.
Yeah, it's not one of those monster horse pills.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Iris, if you want to unmute, go ahead.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you
Yes.
Did I understand correctly, Dr. Kraus, that yours is the only company right now that's selling a full spectrum version?
No, there are many full spectrum companies out there, but our company is the only full spectrum hemp oil company that has dual certification, the ISO 9001 and the
Oh,
GMP certification.
okay.
There are other full spectrum hemp oil, but I will share this with you. Those other full spectrum hemp oil companies do not use the lipid trans process because we have a patent pending on that process. So nobody infuses the way we do it.
Uh-huh.
They use so someone could still use a whole plant and be full spectrum, but they still might use a harsh chemical to get all the stuff out, and then they have to cleanse it and put it back in. And my point to you is, it's not all natural. They've now adulterated the biochemistry of the cell wall. So they still meet the definition of full spectrum, but to me, it's adulterated. It's not.
Okay.
The molecules aren't in their initial natural state.
So you have a patented process?
A patent pending right now. You know how the patent office works. Takes 3 years.
Thank you, because there's so many CBD products on the market, and I've tried a few of them, and they do help me. But I was just wanting to understand a little bit better the difference between what's out there now and what you are offering.
I'll share. I can only share what others have said, and that is, they've taken a buddy of mine. He's the IT guy. He's about 46 years old. And he goes, I've been taking CBD for years, and because he does our computer system here, I gave him ours. He said, holy cow, totally different.
Is it?
And to him, he still took a 50 milligram, and he was doing 50 milligram before, but he said, big difference. So try it.
You know, I'm getting certified as an aromatherapist, and it's very similar to with that in the aromatherapy field when the product is certified and they give you the list of the components in each oil. And they spell it out for you. And if it's not a good company, it's adulterated, and they won't provide that data to you. So
That's right.
I find it very interesting.
And so you bring up a great point. So on each box, you can see what's called a QR code. So you see that that QR code, or you can just go to our website and pull up what's called a COA, Certificate of Analysis. So every batch that we do a COA, and it tells you exact amount of THC and all the other cannabinoids, and it also tells you the heavy metal testing. We actually test for over 70 different pesticides because we have to meet California Prop 65 rules in that state. And so we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on testing every year for purity, potency. And we also have an aromatherapy product that you might be interested in too.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're coming to a close, but I want to take a question, one last question from Beverly, and then we're going to wrap. But I just want to know, while we're taking this last question, I have put my email address in the chat, and if your question was not answered this evening, please reach out to me and we will make sure it is answered. But Beverly, go ahead.
So, in using a topical, say for lower back pain, first of all, what product would you recommend? And secondly, would there be any adverse side effects to a patient who has, say, AFib? Can it cause any side effects to that type of cardiovascular, increased blood pressures, things of that nature?
Yeah, great question. So for the back pain, you would get this. It's the sports balm. I know your husband there probably isn't playing a lot of sports, so don't let the word sports balm confuse you. But the sports balm is a very potent topical will not affect the heart or the blood system at all. So that's my recommendation to you, is to use the sports balm, and then you would apply that to both sides of the back. I can't, my plumber, he's still working. This guy's 70-some years old, and he's still bending over underneath the sink. His knees are killing him, and I gave him this as a gift. And now he comes to my house. Hey, you got any more work? I need another one of those. You know, it helps his knees tremendously.
Is there any way of, what about dosage as far as that, Bob? Can you overdose?
No way. You can't overdose on this. Just read the instructions. It says apply it 2 to 3 times a day. You'll be fine. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask this? Is your capsule considered kosher?
Wow. So guess what? We were about to obtain our kosher certification, and they bumped up the fee by $3,000. And so we're going to get it. So I can't sit here and say we're kosher certified. It's on our list of additional certifications we are going to obtain, but they jacked up the price on us, so we pushed it back on the back
If you
burner.
need some help, I have a lot of rabbis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good question. Really good question. All right, everyone. Elizabeth, I think we'll turn it over to you to wrap up.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being on the call. Dr. Kraus, that was very, very informative. Salem, thank you for answering the questions that I would not have been able to answer. So I think we got a lot done this evening. If you have any further questions, just email Laurel, and it's laurel@cmtausa.org. And I hope everyone found this to be interesting, informative, and I wish you all a good evening. And we had a great turnout. We had over 208, we had about 208 people, the most ever. So this was a very great topic. Thank you for the 30% code, and we'll be in touch if that doesn't work for some people. But thank you so much. It was very, very well done. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Dr. Kraus. Thanks,
you.
Salem. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.